And then at Lisa HD, Grandpa lost his leg at 80. Helping him recover helped me see that I could help wounded heroes. Thank you, Lisa. You had a question you wanted to ask about the economics and what's going on now in terms of charity and giving in hours and dollars.
Well, obviously, we all know that the economy is the worst it's been in decades. And I was curious, the women here, the women out there tweeting, how that has changed or affected the way you think about purpose. Do you give more time? Do you give less money? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, I thought that was a fascinating look on purpose because I've never correlated money with purpose or purpose with money. However, if we care about a cause, money can help. If we want to have a successful business, money plays a part in that. So when you ask, does the economy affect or change or influence our purpose, I would have to say no. Even though my purpose is my work, I find a lot of women have a company, do the work they do, less for the money and more for the end results. What else is it going to give us? Is it going to give us more chance to travel? Is it going to give our family a better position? Is it going to give me a certain satisfaction? So, and I have to say, I think that's why we still have fewer women in top hardworking positions, not simply because of societal or other things that hold us back, but we make our choices and there's no room always for those choices we make in the old model. I love the fact that you pioneered, and we are pioneering today new models of business. So I think that is a key. My company, Conversify, is totally virtual. We each work out of our home, but we present ourselves as a unit. And to show that we can succeed without, in some cases, never meeting face-to-face or never meeting our clients face-to-face and still have incredible success as a company, I think that breaks molds, and I think we all need to break those molds.
And
tremendous.
I have to tell you, I actually yesterday, and one of my co-hostesses is right there, we created, it was a virtual group of women in 3 different time zones to do a pre-blogger event called the Swiffer Social Lux Lounge, and it was giving awards to some of the best and the brightest bloggers out there, and it was 6 different women. I said to them, each of us had a superpower. And there was a graphic designer who's right behind you, Jane Maynard. And there was everyone was just, it started with a vision, and we all came together. And a few of us had known each other, but we all didn't know each other. And it was an amazing thing to say that we were able to do it virtually. Several hundred people came, and they were just blown away. It was like the Oscars, when you go to
fabulous.
So it was just, and treating people like, you know what, and taking it back. It's the purpose that everyone is doing here, the writing. And I have to say, the first time I met Lee, I had read in an instant. And I read in an instant in a day and a half, and I told her that. And she inspires me to be the best writer I can be.
Hashtag tweet to remind, and through PayPal, every time you tweet, $1 goes to our foundation to help a wounded family from the military. So thanks to Kim, I'm standing on this stage with about 200 moms eating pizza, waiting for the movie to start, but being completely still. Their kids are at home with dad or the babysitter, and they're all listening to The Purpose of My Life, and they're all taking a minute out to donate $1 to those families like Anita's who are serving by being here and having a loved one away, or that person who's alone or an orphan, as so many of our current troops serving now. The highest percentage of orphans in any standing army that we've had. And so thanks to Kim's connection, through Beth's connection, through Roll Mommy, through her blog, this all came together and we ended up doing some good. So I love that example as a way that bloggers can all connect and help one another.
You were asking about how the economy affects, and one thing I think we can all do, regardless of what our personal economic situation is we can blog, we can give voice. I reviewed a film recently about a young man with muscular dystrophy who's been going out, traveling the country to raise awareness among young people who don't know who Jerry Lewis is.
The generations have changed.
Exactly. And, I was able to, just through blogging, give voice to his cause and share it with some people who may not have known about it. And we can all do that. We can Twitter, we can blog, we can use all the different social media tools to, help raise awareness. If you don't have time, if you don't have money, you can connect still.
I love that idea about giving voice. I mean, we all have a voice inside of ourselves, and it needs to come out in any way, shape, or form. Very empowering.
You all can all follow this discussion on hashtag Live with Purpose. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear how you're finding purpose in your life. And we've been reading some of the comments. We're talking today about ways that some of our prime women bloggers here on our panel, and many of you out there, find purpose in your lives. And I think it's certainly not unique to women finding purpose, but I think that it's endemic to women. It's the oxygen that we need to feel whole, in a sense. And we're givers by nature, I think, and that extends to what we want to do beyond our immediate families in terms of helping.
And I think what is endemic to women is the power of the connections, because women are so empathetic, and I think that's what gives us energy and just the connection. And obviously technology has allowed us to do it in a way that has never been conceived of before. So we just got a few other tweets in. Go.
You sure? Okay. We're both. Okay, at Miss Tang? Miss Tang. And this is about taking a year off. If she could take a year off, I would work for Habitat for Humanity to further their cause. And then from Jen Mom?
Jen Mom?
Jen Mom. Oh, Jen Mom. Okay. So we need to stick together.
Yeah, I agree. What a team.
Struggling to balance charitable activities and ones that pay the bills as a freelancer. Purpose evaluated daily. Okay, in my worst moments, I said, don't go day to day. Go hour by hour. And I think
that's
sometimes
okay.
That's okay. Yeah. So Jen Mom's looking at her life hour by hour, and there's nothing wrong with that, ladies. What about, what are the things, who are the people that inspire you when you blog? Is there one, can anybody answer, is there one
I have
person?
A story.
Okay.
And I'm gonna bring on the tissues, because it's actually on my blog today, because when I was asked to be here, I wanted to think about the story that really touched me the most. And about a month and a half ago, my neighbor, who was 83 years old, died. He was killed in a car accident. And we went to his memorial service. And an 83-year-old man had about 150 people there. And he was the sweetest man. And we knew him as this great neighbor who just always was very caring, always asking about what was going on. My husband had lost his job in January, and always concerned, have you finding something? And he's okay now, he found a job. But anyway, so we go to the funeral, and he had a memorial service where his wife had passed on 10 years ago. The woman that he was with for 5 years talked about how he was there for her during her chemotherapy, came every single treatment. His people that he worked with talked about how he was a pioneer in his field in construction, and was still working to this day. His rabbi talked about how he was this wonderful voice in the temple. His family, his grandson said he was like a flash of light or a shooting star that comes into your life and is just so special and leaves in a flash. And then his friends of 70 years, 70 years, he was like, he saw him every week. And he said he was with him, and also he just looked up to him. It was like the big brother he never had. And he said that he's just going to miss those Wednesdays with Murray. So I wrote a post called How Will You Be Remembered? And I wrote it, and I read it to my mom. And she said, Beth, you really need to send it. You have to send it to them. And I said, I'll do it. And of course you get caught up with everything that you're doing. And 2 weeks later, my phone rings, and it's Murray's daughter. And Murray's daughter said, I have to tell you, I have not gone online, but my son found this. And he said, she goes, you touched us so much. And we are forwarding it everywhere to all of our friends. And that just made me feel so special, because he was such a great man. So now put on the tissues.
That's an amazing
Where are the
story.
tissues? Hang on.
Yes.